Yellow. Welcome to A Moment with Abby. Ding. I don't know why I found that so funny. It was real deep. Real deep. Hey, it's TV Tuesday on a Wednesday. And we are going to discuss what I watched over the weekend. Sorry. It's like my own personal inside joke. Like, it was something I watched this weekend that was literally the weekend. Sorry. Y'all, I cracked myself up. So this weekend was the Super Bowl. And it was two teams from two different parts of the football world colliding in Tampa, Florida. And one of them won. Yay! I wasn't there for that. Like, my husband was. And if you know my husband, which I think Mom, who's listening, and Nina and Grandma, yeah, you guys know. You know Jason. He loves the Tampa Bay Buccaneers more than probably anything. He loves them more than anything. And they have let him down for years. So it's an unrequited love, but you know, he's going to back them and love them forever. I don't know if you guys know this. We spent $5 million to watch the Buccaneers lose in London. Now, the experience was wonderful, and our children got to experience a really cool game and in another country with other people, which, by the way, Danish people love American football. They were like high-fiving you in the middle of the streets. This is pre-COVID. This is 2019. And we got all dressed up. We had the cheerleaders here. It was wonderful. And they lost, of course. And honestly, my expectations were pretty low. But it was fun going to the Tottenham Stadium and watching them lose. Spending $1 million to eat there too, but whatever. So my husband loves them. And he was so excited when they won. And I went to bed. I didn't even watch the whole thing. It was on at 11 o'clock at night here in London. Not in London, but it was 11 o'clock at night here. And let me tell you, I was super tired. My husband was like, hey, you're awake pretty late sometimes, you know, stay up with me. And I was like, nah, bye. And my oldest daughter stayed up with him, and they were so happy. And he woke me up at 4:30, and he was like, my guys won. And I was like, all right, yay. And right back to bed. The positives that have come out of this is not only is my husband happy that his team won, but also, okay, I'm not a bettor. When I go, I've been to Vegas like twice, and once as an adult, and at the end of our trip, we were like looking on the ground for nickels or pennies, and we're like, we can do one more slot. Well, I know I can't live in Vegas because I'd be like, yeah, one more slot for like forever. I think I have that addictive gene, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to bet the house, but I might bet the last dollar in my wallet like that. Like I have my limits, but those penny machines call my name. So we had two bets kind of like land in our lap. It was pretty awesome. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, sounds like I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff because, you know, I didn't have a lot of faith in the Buccaneers. Sorry, honey. They've let us down for 18 years. So, yeah, I try to manage my expectations when it comes to the Buccaneers. So, my mother called my mom. Hey, Mom. Called my husband. She was like, hey, we want to settle. Or not settle. We want to have a bet with you. Because, you know, it's your team. You're so excited. They're in the Super Bowl. Like, when is this going to happen again? And my husband was like, cautiously intrigued, and so the bet was, hey, if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win, then he would get the full-on new jersey and hat and everything from my mom and my dad. And my husband's like, sweet. And then if they lost and the Chiefs won, then he would have to paint his face blue and white and cheer that the Cowboys are the number one team in the NFL. And if you know my husband, And if you know my brother, you would know that they love their team so much, like to the death kind of thing. And my brother, since moving to Texas when he was, I think in high school, he has adopted everything Texas. Texas is his home. So the Cowboys, which they've let him down too, which they're like two beaten down people over their football teams. It's actually kind of sad. But my brother was like, yeah, have him paint his face and say that the Cowboys are number one, which my husband would have painted his face and said the Cowgirls are number two. More than likely, that's probably what would have happened. But Tampa Bay Bucks won, and now Jason is getting a jersey and a hat, courtesy of the parents, which is pretty awesome. I mean, we would have paid for him to get the crap anyways, because, you know, like I said, he's addicted. But it's pretty awesome that my parents are like, they're paying for it. It's enabling his addiction to the Buccaneers. And the other bet landed in my lap on social media, and it was kind of like, all right, I guess, like I said, I'm gonna be probably paying this bet out. And it was my friend here in England. Hey Ashley, so she was like, hey, because they're huge Chiefs fans, and then there's me and my husband there's me and I'm like, okay, Buccaneers, yeah. My husband's like, Buccaneers, yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys like the Chiefs? And she's like, yeah. And I guess I've never paid attention, because honestly, who's asking? And she was like, oh my gosh, you guys like the Buccaneers? I was like, duh. She said, okay, loser has to cook dinner for the other family. And I was like, okay. So I'm thinking I have a few dinners that I could pull out pretty quick and make for them. But not only is my husband getting a jersey and a hat, I don't have to make dinner one night. So it was pretty awesome. I'm not a winner in any sense. Like, I'm the one that's going to put the most effort into something and never win. That's just how it's always been. So I won 2 bets, and this is all me. The Buccaneers didn't do anything. I kind of sort of supported my husband. So you're welcome, Buccaneers and Buck Nation. Also, I won a football that is Super Bowl themed, that was sponsored by some, I think, insurance company, and I won it on Facebook. Like, they said, hey, just like this post, tag someone and share it. I was like, hell yeah, that's a lot of hard work that I could put a little effort into, and I won. They messaged me and they're like, hey, you won. I was like, damn. Then I got worried, so I was like, did I just use all of the Buccaneers' good juju and luck to win this football? Am I gonna feel guilty if they lose? Nah, because like I said, we manage expectations in this house. So I had 2 bets that were put out there in the universe, not by me, by other people, and we won. It was pretty awesome. But I didn't show up for the football. I showed up for the halftime show. And this year was the Weeknd. I love the halftime shows, whoever's producing, sponsoring, whatever. It's always Pepsi, but I love them. I love the halftime shows. So there's a few on my mind that I've remembered for years. One was the Britney Spears / NSYNC / Aerosmith / Nelly. You guys remember that one? Like the early 2000s? Maybe it was 2000. That was pretty good. And then I remember, I love Coldplay. Yes, I love Coldplay, and I love Crocs. I mean, it's just what I like. And I think it was 2016, they played the Super Bowl halftime in the daytime on the West Coast, which was not the best. If you know Coldplay, and if you've been to one of their concerts, or if you were to look at one of their concerts on YouTube, you would see that their light show during their concert is amazing. So it doesn't really translate in the daytime, so they had to pull in Bruno Mars and Beyonce. they saved the day. I mean, I love Coldplay, but it would have been just me screaming, which it was me anyways, dancing, and it just didn't translate. So they had to bring in some people. And then another one was, you guys remember when U2 played after 9/11? That was very emotional and very patriotic, like American patriotic from a very Irish band. So those are the top ones that I remember. And this year, I'm really good. I think this is going to be in my top 5 because it was different. It was performed by The Weeknd. And I don't know if you guys know this, but for the past 3 years, Jay-Z and his company have been producing the halftime shows. And really, they do need to have fresh blood in there because it could get some. Okay, so they haven't been controversial. They've been kitschy, and with Katy Perry and stuff, they do have their moments. But you do need a production company you're gonna want it to be cool, right? And I think hiring Jay-Z and his company is probably a really good idea. So this Super Bowl, let me see. I have my notes, and you guys know I love my notes. So it was The Weeknd without the E in the end. So it's The Weeknd. And I know that you guys don't come to my podcast for the typical crap, the typical information you can get anywhere, whatever. I'm going to find the most obscure and heartfelt information. I mean, that's why you come here, right? I mean, not just to listen to my diary. So my diary that's out there publicly. Did y'all know that The Weeknd paid for dinner for, I guess, a hospital over there in Tampa? And it was $150 worth of meals at this hospital. I didn't know that. I think I was reading some magazine or newspaper article about whatever, and it was a blip. It was a quick blip, and I'm like, wait a minute. The Weeknd, he bought dinner for a hospital for the workers there. I love him. That is so sweet. That should be out there more, right? Instead of I don't know, other stupid stuff. And also, this is the first time that the Super Bowl halftime show was not going to have 1 million people on the field when it came to the production of the whole thing. Because usually, and I've known a couple people that have done this, they have a bunch of fans and volunteers come out and move stage parts around, and they're wearing all black, and they've really rehearsed for a long time. This year they said, hey, it's going to be set up in the stands, and to keep the people on the field to a minimum, we need to kind of scratch the whole stage movement. So The Weeknd was like, all right, cool, we got this. So since September they've been working on this halftime show, and then I guess the first kind of rollout of this is the stage and this is how it's going to go, it wasn't really up to his standard. He has a critical eye when it comes to his art. He's artsy fartsy. He's a schmexy man. His songs are very schmexy. And if you know his songs, they are sexual. Very, very sexual. Yes. So he was like, this is not up to, this looks empty. And I understand we have to keep things to a minimum, but you know what? The people at home need a show. We've been through a lot of crap. And I don't know if that was that's not verbatim, but I'm gonna say he was nah, we're gonna pump it up a little bit. So he ended up in the most wonderful way putting in I don't know the details of this because we come here for kind of details. He put about $7 million of his own money to boost the production. Now, I'm not saying he pulled out his wallet and he was like, hey, here's $1 million, and here's another $1 million, and another 3 or 4 or 5. It was really him putting his money where his mouth is. No. Yeah, that's a saying, right? He's like, you know what, we need to fill the space, and we need to punch it up because you know what, We got to have a little fun. So $7 million of his own money out of his own, like, and out of his business account, right? And he's artsy. And for the past year, he has been putting on a show for everybody. And some people didn't get it. I had to Google it a lot over the last year. Like, what is the Weeknd doing? He was so he would show up at awards with like the bloody nose and the puffy eyes and stuff. And then he showed up in bandages and everything else another time. And then he just had a new video come out, and it was him with like a grotesquely surgically enhanced face with like square jaw, high cheekbones, and like what you would deem as like the tiniest little like or prettiest little nose kind of thing. And it was just a take on the how Hollywood, the music industry and everything else, they have this unrealistic idea of what beauty should be, and also it's a take on the artist having to conform in a way. So with that, this halftime show is kind of a culmination of this past year of and you know what, I can't remember every artist has like an era, and this is the after hours era of the Weeknd, and this is kind of like the I don't know if it's the end of the era. They haven't really said that, but it feels like this is kind of the closing of this era, so that way he can start making like other music. So the beginning of the show, he is in a car in like Las Vegas lights, and I guess, and like I said, I had to Google this, it was a take on how artists will go to Vegas to kind of go into retirement at some point. Now, I'm not saying that's true, but a lot of people do go to Vegas so that way they could take a break from touring, from having to go through like the whole, like, it's a good way to make a quick lot of bucks, many bucks. And it was kind of a take on that. And then he opened his set, which I'm on to get my website. He started with Starboy, which was like one of the first songs he came out with, and that's a good one. I'm a star boy. I love that song, and I was dancing. And then you have The Hills. That was the next song. And then one of my all-time favorites, I can feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it. Oh, I was like throwing my hand in my face like I can't feel my face. Oh, I love that song. And another one, I Feel It Coming. Oh, that's a good one too. And it's just feel good. It's fun. And then Save Your Tears was next. And then the super sexy one from all of the those sexy movies. Earned It was next. I earned it. Ugh, that was a good one too. So smexy. Then there was, so he wanted to make sure that this show was PG for like the little ones, because he knew families are going to be watching. And let me tell you, Shakira and J-Lo worked it last year. Loved it. Loved everything about it. It was one of my favorites. I love J-Lo. And this year, I mean, I'm not saying he like toned it down because of that, but he was like, you know what, this is family friendly. And you know, Pepsi, sorry, I'm putting on chapstick, Pepsi is producing this, and I think he was also very conscious about like this could give him a lot of opportunities, especially because he's a very schmexy man with his schmexy music. Have I said that enough? But at one point in the show, so people are making fun of their background dancers wearing these kind of jock strap like masks on their face, but really it was a take on the era of him having the bandages on his face and all that jazz. But if you didn't know The Weeknd, then you wouldn't know that was what was happening. You would have been like, that's a lot of jock straps. At one point, his dancers and him go down to the field for like a little bit, because, you know, come on, he needs to be on the field, come on. And during the interlude, because he has to get from like the bleachers down to the field his dancers are dancing to House of Balloons / Glass Table Girls, which is from, I think it's his first album. He's Canadian. So he used to live in this house, and it was the party house. He left his home and his school really early, very young teenager, and he lived in this house with his friends, and they partied all the time. And it was, I guess, legendary. I guess their parties were legendary. They had balloons, so hence the House of Balloons and Glass Table Girls. It's kind of a take on these girls that would come over, and they would debauchery all over town. So it was a little bit of, it was the second to last song on the field, House of Balloons / Glass Table Girls. He kind of brought up the whole, a little bit of sexy. I just keep it up sexy. I don't know. I think The Weeknd is so artistic, and he is so creative. It was just, I don't know. I just love how artists will think of some things and you wouldn't have thought of it that way, but you're like, damn, like, that's really deep. So he brought a little bit of his past when he was running down the bleachers all the way down to the field. And then he ended on one of my favorites and TikTok's favorites, Blinding Lights. Yes, all the dancers had their little like lights in their hands, and they were dancing, and they're going in circles, and he was on the field, and he was like, "Yeah, tempo!" It was really fun. I thought it was exciting, and I think that it will be memorable because we're in the middle of a pandemic, and also it was the first time that they really performed and had the stage in the bleachers, like off the field. So I think this will definitely go down in history. Another fun fact that I'm gonna stop with The Weeknd, because let me tell you, when I was watching, I was so happy. It was just me in the house at the time, and I was like singing all the songs. And now I have a million playlists, but I ended up having to like consolidate to like other songs that I really love, and I realized I didn't have a lot of Weeknd, so I went through and I added some songs. So I highly recommend you guys looking into him, because I like an artist that takes an era of their music, and Taylor Swift is one of these too, and they really put a lot of thought into it, and they just don't throw stuff out there. They're just like, whatever, this is what it is. I like artists that really think about what they're putting out there. So look into The Weeknd without an E at the end. Now let's get into the other important things. The streaker. Yes, it's the most, quote, Florida man I've ever seen ever. Let me tell you. He is literally, and actually, I don't know if he's literally from there, but he lives there. This streaker is from Boca Raton, Florida. And they say that he is an international business. Okay. What kind of business? That just sounds sketch to me. And it was really, it wasn't like a take on politics or on social injustice, which you would think like maybe there would be some deep meaning. No, it was to publicize something. Sorry. I'm choked up by this. It was to publicize an adult website. Nothing else, nothing interesting, just that. And it was he probably lost a bet. And I'm not going to say the company, but it apparently, and of course, like, if this is what you like, which it's not my thing. If it's something that you like, okay, but you would want it to be, I don't know, ethical in some way, or like, definitely not moral in some way, but ethical. And the owner of this website is not. He has gotten in trouble a few times. He's gotten in trouble for like tackling a woman. Who does that? Not somebody who's like a good person. So I think him and his friends were probably hanging out. He lost a bet, and they're like, "You gotta go, dude. You gotta go to the Super Bowl. You gotta put on my shirt. I know it's not gonna be just any shirt. It's gonna be one of the ones that goes up your butt, like a full-on swimsuit that goes up your butt. You gotta run on the field, and I'll pay your bail, bro." So they did it, and then they got some publicity. Good for them. For something that's nothing. Don't look it up. It's not worth it. So, just a bunch of idiots. But what do you expect from Florida? Now, my husband's family is from Florida. Love you guys. You are wonderful people. But, I mean, Florida is known for just being like, it's like the wild, wild west on the east. It's funny stuff. They're very innovative, to say the least. So another thing that I found very interesting were the animal predictions. Yes, I love animal predictions. And two of them, they are the ones that really the only ones that I really care about, because all the other ones, it's like, okay, cute, like animals from the Disney Animal Kingdom. They chose awesome. They were kind of fully divided in Florida. One of our favorite aquariums is it's a Clearwater aquarium, or it's a Clearwater like animal sanctuary place, and that's where Winter the dolphin lives. And I guess a few of their animals there were, everything was divided, but the only one I care about was Winter. She chose the bucks, and I was like, damn right, it's a she, right? Like, damn right that Winter did. And then the other one that I care about is Jimmy Fallon's puppies. He does where they release the puppies and they let them run out so that way they could choose one of the food bowls. And these puppies ran amok. And then they finally kind of guided them back to like the little like path, and they chose the Buccaneers. If you're gonna make bets in Vegas, those are the two animals that I would really like look at and choose to believe. Another fun fact is, do you know who makes the trophy for the Super Bowl? I didn't know this until today. Tiffany and Company. They make the trophy, and it takes them 4 months to craft it. That's really interesting. I didn't know that. And that would probably make me want to win it more. Like, hell yeah, I want that Tiffany thing. Sure. Awesome. I wonder if they deliver it in like a big Tiffany box. Oh, I gotta Google that. So at homework, everybody, Google and see if they deliver the Super Bowl trophy in that teal Tiffany box. And another fun fact that I'm going to end this podcast with is, at the Super Bowl of 2021, they invited 700 that's not right, sorry, 7,500 healthcare workers to the Super Bowl. That's awesome. It's well deserved. I mean, those people have been working too hard for the past year. Like, they've put in many, many hours. So they deserved not only the dinner from the Weeknd without the E at the end, but they also deserve to have a good time. And some of them were going crazy. So with the pandemic and everything else that they were having to deal with, they not only invited all these wonderful medical professionals, they also provided everybody who showed up at the stadium with a medical grade mask. So that way everyone was safe. And they said you have to maintain like 6 feet from each other. People who are not in your bubble. I don't know if America does bubbles. In England, we do bubbles. Or your social circle or whatever, and you have to wash your hands, and everybody was provided with hand sanitizer, all that stuff. So they did the best they could, and really, I think, and I understand people are upset. They're like, hey, in this time, having that many people there was not safe and it was irresponsible, but at some point we need to go back to normal, right? And I feel like we need a good time. And as the Weeknd said, we need to punch it up a bit. So let's have a little fun. Have some snacks. The 3 S's. Snacks, songs, and sleeps. Really, that's all we need in 2021. So thank you guys for listening. Oh, crap. Sorry. For the good of the day, I haven't really thought about it. And I was so excited about the Super Bowl podcast that on this TV Tuesday that I didn't think about a good for the day. I would love for you guys to provide one for me. like in the comments. I think that'd be great. You guys share what have you done? Have you done any of the good of the days? Have you not? Like, are you doing the weekly or the monthly challenge or whatever it is for February? Just what are y'all doing for good of the day? Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you all, and I will talk to you later. Bye. Bye. Bye.